Hey guys, just finished watching Gotham, season 21 and season 3, episode 21 and 22. Destiny Calls, and Heavydirtysoul. Wow, these episodes were pretty cool. I mean, it was interesting seeing all the things that happened with, Bruce stabbing Alfred and Jim getting the cure in actually episode 20, stuff like that, and seeing that happen throughout this whole episode. And the stuff going with so many. And then one of the cool things I want to talk about is jumping straight to Ra's al Ghul. Now, Ra's al Ghul in this episode, he looked pretty cool. I mean, the hair looked perfect. I mean, it was hard to tell because it was such a dark place. I kind of preferred the Arrow. So far, I prefer the Ra's al Ghul that he had on Arrow. I forget the guy's name, but he was a bit better. He had a better voice for it. Although this guy feels like his hair looks like they actually gelled it in the Ra's al Ghul form. It looks a little bit more Ra's al Ghul. But Ra's al Ghul needs to have a menacing voice. It's almost type thing. Now it's not like what is it, the Black Flash or Reverser, or was it Black Flash, where they could have someone dub the voice or anything like that. That wouldn't work. That would look silly. But just this character didn't seem menacing. He didn't seem. I mean, Liam Neeson, he's a tall guy. He has a deep voice, so he was perfect as Ra's al Ghul. And just obviously no way he's going to be doing it. He didn't come back for Arrow. He's not going to come back for Gotham. So I think it's quite interesting that they got this guy. Now, like I said, I'd like to see him maybe want to see him a little bit more in the light. When we had the reveal in Arrow. It was in the light, it was in the place and stuff. And I was surprised that, when Bruce stabbed Alfred, I was shocked with all that. It was pretty cool. Loved it. And then I completely forgot that the Lazarus pit was right there behind him, which I don't know why he didn't just dunk him in completely instead of pouring it all on him. Just grab buckets and buckets of it. But so it's gonna be cool to see how that goes and see how that storyline moves on forward with Ra's al Ghul, not Ra's al Ghul, if I'm not mistaken. I remember asking Neil Adams himself. I had a few times at Comic-Con, but I'll ask him again next time I see him. But it was pretty cool seeing that, seeing how things go, and the whole stories with Penguin and Riddler and Barbara and forget her name, Barbara's friend there, the girl that the only one who's left there, Barbara being dead, and Butch being revealed as Cyrus Gold, who, if you don't know, in the comic books is actually Solomon Grundy, which is pretty cool. I did look that one up. I kind of forgot about it. I feel like I heard Cyrus Gold. I've heard that name before. I heard that name back in season 2 of Arrow, season 2, episode 9 of Arrow, first appearance of Grant Gustin as the Flash or as Barry Allen, should I say, in Arrow and stuff. So that was pretty cool seeing the reference to that, and finding out that Butch is now actually going to be Cyrus Gold, and that's going to be cool to see how they play with that. He's going to come back as a zombie and stuff. Although I kind of wish that even how they did it on Arrow, Solomon Grundy was like a 7 foot, 8 foot tall, or 10 foot tall giant thing. The size of Hulk type thing, the size of taller than Batman. In the cartoons and the comics, he's able to grab Batman entirely in one hand type thing. So I'd like to see something like that happen, rather than just, because Butch he's kind of tall, but he's not that tall. He's not super taller than Gordon or anything like that. He's not even he's maybe 6 foot. I mean, he's not that tall. So I'd like to see how they do with that, and maybe they play with it and have him grow big or something like that for him to become Cyrus Gold. Or maybe they set it up, but they don't actually play with that until later on, let him kind of fester and become more of a zombie-like character, which is Solomon Grundy is. He's a zombie and stuff like that. So I'd like to see where that goes, just because, in the Justice League cartoons, whenever they would fight, whenever they would, Injustice versus the Justice League, Superman would always take on Solomon Grundy because he's that strong. So I think it's going to be fun to see where they go with that. That'll be interesting to see where they play with that and how things continue on. So it was a really cool episode. I love the whole things, what they did with that, and the twists and turns. And then Barbara, and then James Gordon, kind of the twist, how they became, how they kind of, where things they left with Jim Gordon and Bullock. Seems like just like the same place where they at the beginning of the show. There's not much going. I would like to have seen them if they had left it off with both both of them waking up. We don't know what the relationship is between James Gordon and Leslie Thompson. So leaving that thing unknown until this next season, I think would have been a really cool interest. And then find out that, you know, as soon as they got off the plane, they both went their separate ways, or he woke up and she was gone, not even on that plane, or not even on that train. She got off the stop before him or something like that, and he doesn't even know. No note, no nothing. I think that would have been way more interesting to see where they end up and all that stuff. But I guess this is kind of interesting with them just kind of being normal and stuff like that. Things kind of be getting to normal and stuff. So it was interesting with that. I did hear online that there was supposed to be some setup as Harley Quinn was supposed to be in here. So I was just like, where's the Harley Quinn reference? I mean, I guess Barbara could always come back from the dead to become Harley Quinn. That doesn't really make sense. But at least something for Harley Quinn would have been nice. Maybe, I forget where we last saw Jerome. I remember last thing Jerome was when Bruce was punching him at the circus and stuff. So maybe Jerome, if we saw a shot of Jerome in Arkham, and, you know, turning and then some blonde-haired, glasses-wearing psychiatrist walks in, and we don't really hear her voice or anything like that, which she needs to obviously have a high voice. But and then we just get a tease of that. That would have been really cool, seeing that. Surprised we didn't get Jerome cameo at the end of this episode. So that'll be interesting to see. Hopefully, if we get to play with that next season. So yeah, this thing was kind of fun. Disappointing, you know, that that we get Fish Mooney back only for her to die in this like 2 episodes. It's just kind of silly. Why bring her back if she was only in a few episodes at the beginning of this season, and then a few episodes now, and then that's it? Nothing of her. Now she's dead again. Like, you're not gonna bring her back again. I mean, that was. That's why I'm glad that Riddler didn't die. I mean, you had these characters dying, getting shot all the time. Or Riddler didn't shoot Penguin because he's always coming back, you know. And now you just killed off Fish Mooney again. She's gonna probably come back. Now, I don't want her to come back probably for another 3 seasons. Even though I love the character, I wanted her to stay around. I really wish they hadn't killed her off. But at the same time, now that they've done it, I don't want her to come back for a very long time, because it's just too much, like, all over and over again. At the same time, oh, she's dead again, oh, she's back again, oh, she's dead again, and she's not back again for long. So whenever they do bring her back, hopefully in like 2 or 3 seasons from now, then they could bring her back and have her bring her back for good. That would be cool, because we're missing out on so many different there were so many other monsters. I feel like they were on the bus from last season, the end of the episode, and now they're all gone and there's nowhere to be found or anything like that. So that was disappointing that she didn't have a big army of power and villains that are all built powers and stuff like that. And the only people we've seen with powers or things for them, the CGI and stuff, was the Bridget, the Firefly, and what's his face there, Mr. Freeze, or Mr. Zero, as he originally was called in the comics. So yeah, it was cool seeing those two, but it's just like, you need someone else with some powers and some other classic Batman villains. So yeah, overall, this was an interesting episode, interesting finale. It's not the top finales of all the DC shows or all the shows I've been watching. Probably say it's the least interesting one, just because it doesn't end on a big punch or anything like that. It just ends on, like, you've been watching it for so long, hopefully you'll stick with it type thing, and I guess I will stick with it. Now, will I stick watching it live on TV? Probably not, unless it's the only one. Unless it's the only one. So far, it's the only one I can watch live on TV of the shows on Monday nights. But like, if something else pops up, maybe I'll end up watching that live. But I'll probably be watching it afterwards. So it was interesting. It was cool at the end seeing Bruce don the cowl and all that. It was kind of silly. Like, why did he jump down, stop the mugging, and get on the roof just to take off his mask? That made no sense to me, because obviously it's Bruce Wayne. I mean, the show's called Gotham. The show has Selena Kyle, has Alfred in it. Anyone who doesn't know anything about Batman and starts off and watches this show is going to know, if you walk in and you don't even know that Batman is Bruce Wayne, you just know that Batman is a superhero, you're going to figure this all out and stuff like that. So, I don't know, it just seems a bit silly for him to take the mask off. I think it just, make the mask a little bit more obvious, and then you leave it like that, and that would be cool. You can just zoom in on the eyes, and you know that it's him or something like that. So it's gonna be cool to see where they go with that, and if he starts becoming, if he starts developing, you know, costumes and stuff, or starts playing with, what's his face, or I can't think of the guy's name, but Lucius Fox, and getting some cool toys, and maybe seeing some sort of development of like a Batmobile and things like that. That would be really fun to see that. But other than that, it's gonna be cool to see where things go. Still don't feel like he deserves to put on the costume yet, just because he hasn't earned this blood, sweat, and tears. He hasn't become the Batman the way I would want him to become the Batman, because he hasn't spent years training and years mastering his body and doing, you know, learning how to, you know, sleep only 2 hours in only like half an hour increments, you know, for all day, and stuff like that. That Batman does, and all these things, you know. I mean, I don't feel like this Bruce Wayne could even do a salmon ladder, you know, like Steve Amell does on Arrow and stuff. So I don't know. It seems weird, but I guess it'll be interesting to see where things go with this. So yeah, with this episode, with that, so looks could be fun. We'll have to just see where things go, but definitely not my favorite ending for a season. So yeah, let me know what you think, guys, about the season final for Gotham season 3. I'll see you guys in the next video for season 4. Peace. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.